The silk wedding dress felt like a noose. Armed guards lined the aisle. This wasn't a wedding. This was a sale. Her father's hand trembled on her arm. "Forgive me." Amara squeezed back. "It's all right, Father." Her voice broke. "I owe you everything." He'd pulled her from nothing when she was 7. Loved her when Korea didn't want a black girl. Now, she'd save him, even if it killed her. The processional began. One step. Another. The groom turned. Amara's heart stopped. Park Si-woo, her high school boyfriend. The boy who'd taken her virginity on a bet 8 years ago. No, anyone but him. His lips curved into a cruel smile. "Hello, Amara." Her legs buckled. "Walk, or we both die," her father hissed. Guards reached for their weapons. She walked. At the altar, Si-woo's fingers locked around hers. That touch, she'd spent 8 years trying to forget it. The boy who'd shattered her was now a man. Harder, colder, dangerous. Do you, Choi Amara, take this man as your husband? Her father's terrified face. The matriarch's warning glare. Guards at every exit. "I do." Poison on her tongue. "You may kiss the bride." Si-woo pulled her close, lips at her ear. "You're mine now. Not a game this time." The kiss was ownership, nothing more. Hollow applause filled the hall. At the reception, his hand stayed on her thigh, a constant brand. Park family members congratulated her like she'd signed a death warrant. A scarred man raised his glass. "May she serve the family well." "Serve, not love. Smile," Si-woo murmured. "You're making them nervous." "Good." His grip turned painful. "Your father's right there. One word from me." Across the room, a guard stood behind his chair. Message received. "Why me?" she whispered. "Why force this? My father's dying upstairs. I need stability." His eyes were ice. "Your father's debt gave me the perfect opportunity. And you already know how to please me." The memory slammed into her 17. In his bedroom, believing his lies, giving him everything. Then, hearing his friends laugh the next day, "You got the black girl. Easiest bet ever." When she'd confronted him, he'd shrugged. Just a game. Her heart, her virginity, her trust. Just a game. "You're sick," she spat. "I'm practical." He yanked her to her feet. "Come." He dragged her through the corridors. Guards everywhere. No escape. He opened the door. Your room. Bars on the windows. One exit. The door he controlled. "The rules are simple," Si-woo said, backing her against the wall. "You don't leave without permission. You don't speak without approval. You don't contact your father. You exist because I allow it. I'm not your." His hand slammed beside her head. "Your father owes more. Medical bills. Interest. This marriage cleared the principal. Your obedience keeps him breathing." He leaned close. "Fight me, and accidents happen to him, not you. I learned that's more effective." Her father's face flashed through her mind, teaching her Korean, holding her through racist taunts, crying at her mother's funeral. She'd endure anything. I understand. Surprise flickered in his eyes. "Good. Dinner's at 7. Don't embarrass me." He left. The lock clicked. Amara's legs gave out. The tears came violently and choking. 8 years of healing destroyed in one afternoon. Senior year, his tender lies. The night she'd given him everything, thinking she finally belonged somewhere. Then, the cafeteria laughter. "The African girl actually believed you loved her. Just a game." A knock. "Miss Amara, I'm here to help you dress for dinner." "I don't need help." Mr. Park insists. Amara opened the door. An older woman with kind eyes held a black dress. A guard watched behind her. I'm Mrs. Kang. She entered and closed the door. He was your boyfriend, Mrs. Kang said quietly. In high school, he hurt you. Amara's throat closed. She nodded. Mrs. Kang's expression hardened. The Park men are trained to hurt. She laid the dress down. But they don't notice what happens under their noses. What do you mean? Survive. Play the part. Mrs. Kang met her eyes. And when the moment comes, be ready. She returned to the dress, mask back in place. Not here. Not now. But maybe Amara wasn't completely alone. Mrs. Kang helped her change in silence. The black dress fit perfectly. Of course it did. Siwoo had planned everything. The family eats formally, Mrs. Kang said, adjusting the collar. Sit straight. Speak only when spoken to. Especially tonight, they're watching you. To see if I'll break? To see if you're worth keeping. Mrs. Kang's voice dropped. Some brides don't survive the first week. Ice flooded Amara's veins. What? Accidents. Disappearances. Mrs. Kang smoothed the dress. The Park family doesn't tolerate defiance or weakness. Then why tell me? Because you already survived him once. Mrs. Kang's eyes held something fierce. And you're going to survive him again. Before Amara could respond, the guard knocked. Time. Mrs. Kang opened the door. She's ready. Amara followed the ground through the mansion. Her heels clicked against marble. Each step, a countdown. They reached massive dining room doors. The guard pushed them open. The room went silent. A long table stretched before her. Siwoo sat at the head. His father's empty chair beside him, a ghost, presiding over dinner. Park family members lined both sides. All eyes turned to her. Predators assessing prey. Amara. Siwoo gestured to the chair beside him. Sit. She walked the length of the table. Each step felt like a judgment. She sat. A woman across from her smiled cold and sharp. So you're the debt payment. How? Economical. Muffled laughter rippled down the table. Careful, Aunt Mireille, Siwoo said smoothly. That's my wife you're talking to. Of course. Mireille's smile didn't reach her eyes. Welcome to the family. Dear. Servants brought food. Amara's stomach churned. But she forced herself to eat. Show weakness, and they'd devour her. I hear you were adopted, an older man said. From Africa? Ethiopia, Amara said quietly. How? Charitable. His tone suggested otherwise. And now you're here. Life takes interesting turns. Indeed, another woman added. From charity case to Mafia wife. Quite the upgrade. Amara's jaw clenched. Don't react. Don't give them ammunition. Siwoo's hand found her thigh under the table, not comfort, but warning. My wife's background is irrelevant, he said coldly. What matters is that she's mine now, and anyone who disrespects her disrespects me. The temperature in the room dropped. Of course, Siwoo, the older man said quickly. No disrespect intended, but their eyes said otherwise. Dinner continued barbed comments, disguised as conversation. Questions designed to humiliate. Amara answered carefully, revealing nothing. She was a survivor. She'd survived being foreign in a country that didn't want her. She'd survived this. Midway through the meal, a younger man entered late 20s, with softer features than Siwoo but the same sharp eyes. Junho, Siwoo said. You're late. I'm here now, brother. The man Junho slid into a seat across from Amara. His eyes found hers, and something flickered. Curiosity? Sympathy? You must be Amara, he said warmly. I'm Park Junho, Siwoo's younger brother. Nice to meet you, she managed. Tension crackled between the brothers. Dinner finally ended. Siwoo stood, pulling Amara up with him. We're retiring. Her stomach dropped. He led her from the dining room, his grip iron on her wrist. Back through corridors. Back to her prison. At her door, he stopped. "You did well tonight," he said. "Better than I expected." "What did you expect? Me to cry? Beg?" "Yes." His honesty was brutal. Most would. "I'm not most people." "No." Something unreadable crossed his face. "You never were." He unlocked her door, but didn't release her. "8 years ago, I hurt you," he said quietly. "Badly. I know that." Her breath caught. Was he apologizing? But that was a different life, a different me. His eyes hardened. "This is business now. You're my wife, because I need stability. Your father lives, because you cooperate. It's simple. Not an apology. A reminder." "I understand," she said flatly. "Good." He pushed her door open. "Sleep well, Amara. Tomorrow, you meet my father." The door closed. The lock clicked. Amara stood in darkness, heart pounding. She changed mechanically, collapsing into bed. But sleep wouldn't come. Mrs. Kang's words echoed. "When the moment comes, be ready." Ready for what? Outside her window, Seoul glittered freedom so close, yet impossibly far. But somewhere in this mansion of monsters, there might be an ally. Mrs. Kang. Maybe even Junho. She just had to survive long enough to find out. Amara woke to sunlight slicing through barred windows. For one blissful second, she forgot where she was. Then reality crashed down. The wedding, Siwoo, the prison. A knock shattered the silence. "Miss Amara." Mrs. Kang's voice. "Mr. Park requests your presence." Amara sat up, every muscle tense. "Which Mr. Park?" "The elder. Siwoo's father wants to meet you." "The dying patriarch." Mrs. Kang entered with clothes, a simple cream blouse and black slacks. Professional, demure. "He's in the medical wing, Mrs." Kang said quietly while Amara dressed. "He's weak, but his mind is sharp. Be careful what you say." "Will Siwoo be there?" "Yes, Mrs." Kang's expression darkened. "He never leaves his father's side for long, proving his worth, securing his inheritance." Amara's hands trembled as she buttoned the blouse. "What does his father want with me? To see if you're worth keeping." Ice flooded her veins. Mrs. Kang led her through corridors, lined with guards. They reached a wing that smelled of antiseptic and death. A guard opened double doors. The room was filled with medical equipment monitors beeping, IV stands, oxygen tanks. In the center, a hospital bed held a man who looked carved from stone and fury. Park Chulman. Even dying, he radiated power. Sharp eyes tracked her from a face ravaged by illness. Tubes ran from his arms. His breathing was labored, but steady. Siwoo stood beside the bed, hands clasped behind his back. He didn't look at her. "Come closer," the patriarch rasped. Amara obeyed, stopping at the foot of the bed. Park Chulman studied her with the intensity of a predator. "So, you're the debt payment." "Yes, sir. African, I'm told. Ethiopian. Adopted." His lips twisted not quite a smile. "My son married a foreigner to settle a gambling debt." "How?" "Modern." Siwoo's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. "Tell me, girl," the patriarch continued. "What makes you worth 500 million won?" The question was a trap. Any answer was wrong. "Nothing, sir," Amara said carefully. "I'm simply paying my father's debt. Honest." He coughed, wet and painful. When he recovered, his eyes were harder. "Honesty is rare in this family. Let's see how long you keep it," Father Siwoo began. "I'm speaking to your wife." Siwoo fell silent, but fury simmered in his eyes. The patriarch leaned forward slightly. "You will serve this family. Obey my son. Produce heirs if required. Prove you're not a waste of resources." Each word was deliberate, brutal. "Fail, And you're disposable. Understood? Produce heirs. The words made her stomach turn. Understood, she whispered. Good. He waved a dismissive hand. Now get out. I'm tired. Siwoo gripped her elbow, steering her from the room. His touch was iron. In the corridor, he released her. You did well. He treated me like livestock. To him, to this family. Rage burned through her. And what am I to you? Siwoo. Really? For a moment, something flickered in his expression. Pain? Regret? Then it was gone. You're my wife, my property, my responsibility. He stepped closer. And my insurance policy. Nothing more. You used to be different, she said quietly. In high school, before all this, you weren't always. That boy is dead. His voice was ice. Forget him. I have. He walked away, leaving her alone in the corridor. Amara stood frozen, heart hammering. 8 years had turned the boy who'd hurt her into a man who'd perfected cruelty. Rough morning? She spun. A man approached the one from dinner. Junho, Siwoo's younger brother. He smiled gently. Sorry, didn't mean to startle you. It's fine. She wiped her eyes quickly, hating that he'd seen her vulnerable. Met father, I'm guessing? Junho's expression was sympathetic. He has that effect on people. He's direct. He's a monster, Junho said it casually, like discussing the weather. But you probably figured that out. Amara didn't know what to say. Junho gestured down the paced corridor. Want some air? The garden's the only decent place in this prison. She hesitated. Siwoo's warning from last night echoed, Stay away from Junho. But Junho was the first person who'd shown her genuine kindness. I'd like that, she said. They walked through the mansion to a central courtyard. The garden was beautiful cherry trees, stone paths, a koi pond, peaceful, almost normal. Junho sat on a bench overlooking the water. Amara joined him, keeping distance between them. I'm sorry, he said after a moment. About all this. The marriage. The circumstances. It's not your fault. No. But it's my family. He picked up a pebble, tossing it into the pond. My father built this empire on blood and fear. Siwoo's just following the template. He said you were dangerous, Amara blurted. That I should stay away from you. Junho laughed bitter and sharp. Of course he did. Can't have you realizing there's someone in this family who isn't a complete sociopath. You're not? I try not to be. He turned to her, expression earnest. Look, I know you're scared. I know this is hell. But you're not alone, Amara. I meant what I said last night. You have an ally here. Her throat tightened. Why would you help me? Because someone should. He held her gaze. My brother wasn't always like this. When we were kids, he was different, kinder. Then, father started grooming him to take over, teaching him that weakness gets you killed, that love is a liability. What changed him? Honho's expression darkened. Father did. Everything father touches turns to poison. He paused. Siwoo fought it at first, but eventually he broke. Became exactly what father wanted, ruthless, cold, perfect. Amara thought of the boy she'd known in high school. The manufactured tenderness. Even then, he'd been learning cruelty. I'm not excusing what he did to you, Junho added quickly. That bet, taking your... He stopped, looked away. That was unforgivable. But understand, he was already being shaped into a weapon. That doesn't make it hurt less. No, it doesn't. Junho met her eyes again. But maybe there's still something human left in him. Buried deep. I don't want to find it, Amara said flatly. I just want to survive. Then let me help you, Amara said flatly. I just want to survive. Then let me help you. His voice was urgent now. I can't get you out. Not yet, but I can make this bearable. I can be someone you trust. Trust. The word felt foreign. But what choice did she have? Okay, she whispered. Junho smiled, genuine and warm. Good. Then, we're friends. For the first time since the wedding, hope flickered in her chest. Maybe survival was possible. Maybe touching. They both turned. Siwoo stood at the garden entrance, fury carved into every line of his face. I told you to stay away from her, he said to Junho, voice deadly quiet. She needed air, Junho replied calmly. I was being hospitable. You were overstepping. Siwoo's eyes cut to Amara. Inside. Now. She stood, pulse racing. Junho touched her arm gently. It's all right. Go. Siwoo's expression turned murderous. Don't touch her.
She's not your possession.
She's exactly that. Siwoo crossed the distance in 3 strides, grabbing Amara's wrist. And you do well to remember it. He dragged her from the garden. Junho watched them go, something unreadable in his eyes. Back inside, Siwoo shoved her against the wall. What did he say to you? Nothing. He was just being kind. Junho is never just kind. Siwoo's face was inches from hers. He's calculating, manipulative, dangerous, like you. His hand slammed beside her head. Worse than me, because he makes you think he cares, and you don't even pretend. Something cracked in his expression. No, I don't. His voice dropped, which makes me honest. Junho will smile while he destroys you. Why do you care? She demanded. If I'm just property, because you're my property. His grip on her. Wrist tightened. And I protect what's mine. They stood frozen, breathing hard, the air between them electric with anger and something more complicated. Then Siwoo released her and stepped back. Stay away from my brother, he said coldly. That's not a request. He walked away, leaving her shaking against the wall. Amara slid down to the floor, wrapping her arms around her knees. 2 brothers. Both are dangerous, both using her for their own purposes. But Junho had offered friendship, kindness, hope. Siwoo had offered nothing but chains. The choice seemed obvious, even if it was exactly what Siwoo warned her against. 3 days passed in a careful routine. Breakfast alone. Lunch was supervised. Dinner with the family cold stares and barbed comments. Siwoo's hand was always on her thigh, reminding her who owned her. She obeyed every rule, spoke when spoken to, smiled when required, played the perfect captive bride. But every moment, she watched, learned, waited. Mrs. Kang brought meals and quiet warnings. The West Wing is off limits. Siwoo's private office. A meaningful look. He keeps everything locked, very particular about his privacy. Amara filed that away. On the 4th night, Amara woke to gentle knocking. She opened the door a crack. Junho stood in the shadows, finger to his lips. Can I come in? He whispered. Just to talk. I promise. She hesitated, then stepped aside. He entered quickly, closing the door quietly. Siwoo's with father. Emergency meeting about territory disputes. We have maybe 20 minutes. You shouldn't be here. If he finds out, he won't. Junho sat in the chair by the window, keeping distance. I wanted to check on you. Really check. Not just passing hellos. Amara sat on the bed, pulling her robe tighter. I'm fine. You're a terrible liar. His smile was sad. You don't have to pretend with me. Something in her chest cracked. The weight of 4 days of years pressed down. I hate him, she whispered. I hate that he can do this. that he has this much power over me. I know. He acts like I'm nothing, like what he did in high school was nothing. Her voice broke. He destroyed me, Junho. And now he gets to do it again. Junho leaned forward, elbows on his knees. There's something you should know about my brother. What? He's been watching you. For years. Her blood turned to ice. What do you mean? Junho pulled a folded paper from his pocket. I shouldn't show you this, but you deserve the truth. He handed it to her. Siwoo's office. West Wing. 3rd floor. The door code is 0817. His birthday. Why are you giving me this? Because his office has files on you. Junho stood. I've seen them. Photos. Documents. He's had people tracking you since high school. The room tilted. That's not possible. Check for yourself. Junho moved to the door. Tomorrow afternoon. Siwoo has a meeting downtown. 2 hours minimum. Mrs. Kang will help. Junho, you deserve to know the truth about your husband. His expression was grim. About how deep his obsession goes. He left before she could respond. Amara stared at the paper in her shaking hands. 0817. The next afternoon, Mrs. Kang appeared with lunch. Mr. Park left 30 minutes ago, she said quietly. He'll be gone for 2 hours, maybe more. Mrs. Kang, the West Wing guard takes his break at 2 p.m. 15 minutes. She met Amara's eyes. If you're going to do something foolish, now would be the time. At 2 p.m. exactly, Amara slipped from her room. The corridor was empty. She moved quickly toward the West Wing. 3rd floor. Siwoo's office. 0817. The lock clicked. She pushed inside, heart racing. Dark wood desk. Leather chairs. Bookshelves. She checked drawers. Locked. Filing cabinets. Locked. Then she saw it a safe behind a painting. She tried his birthday. Nothing. On impulse, she tried her birthday. The safe clicked open. Inside were files, dozens of them. Her name on every tab. She pulled out the first one. Photos spilled across the desk. Her, in high school, walking to class, sitting in the cafeteria, at her locker. Hundreds of photos. She grabbed another file. College, her university campus, in the library, at coffee shops, leaving lectures. More photos, different angles, different days. Someone had been following her, photographing her, for years. Another file. Her at 23, walking through Hongdae. At a restaurant with friends. Shopping. Every moment. Documented. Cataloged. Her hands shook as she opened more files. Medical records. How did he get these? Employment history. Every job she'd had. Bank statements. Her finances laid bare. Travel documents. The weekend trip to Busan 2 years ago. The beach photos she'd posted on Instagram, printed and filed. Apartment lease agreements. Utility bills. Phone records. Everything. He had everything. 8 years of her life. Meticulously. Documented like she was a research subject. She found photos from last month. Her leaving her apartment, at the convenience store, walking to the bus stop. He'd been watching, always watching. The most recent file was dated 1 week before the wedding. Photos of her father's apartment, her visiting him. The timestamp, 3 days before the debt collectors arrived. He'd known. He'd known everything before he ever forced this marriage. Amara's breath came in gasps. The room spun. This wasn't just surveillance. This was an obsession. Find what you were looking for? She spun. Siwoo stood in the doorway. His expression was calm, resigned. How long have you been there? She whispered. Long enough. He closed the door. The meeting ended early. He gestured at the photos scattered across his desk. Didn't take much to figure out where you'd go. You've been stalking me. Her voice shook. For 8 years. Yes. No excuse. No explanation. Just yes. Why? The word tore from her throat. Why couldn't you just let me go? Siwoo crossed the room slowly. I tried. After high school. After what I did. He stopped a few feet away. I couldn't. So you hired people to follow me? To photograph me? To dig through my entire life? I needed to know you were safe. That's not safety. She threw a photo at him. That's surveillance. That's control. He caught the photo. Looked at it. Her, smiling at a cafe. Unaware she was being watched. You were the only real thing I ever had, Amara. His voice was quiet. The only person who looked at me like I was human. So you destroyed that. She spat. Then spent 8 years watching the wreckage. Yes. Why do this? She gestured at the files. Why force this marriage? Because your father owed money. Because my father wanted to use you. He paused. He wanted to sell you to one of his associates. A man who breaks women for sport. Horror flooded through her. I took you instead. Siwoo continued. Convince father it was a strategy. Really, I just couldn't let anyone else have you. That's not love, Amara whispered. That's possession. I know. He moved closer. I don't know how to love. Father made sure of that. But I know how to protect what's mine. I'm not yours. You are. He reached out, but didn't touch her. You've been mine since we were 17. Tears streamed down her face. You don't get to do this. You destroyed me. I know. His hand dropped. And I'll spend the rest of our lives making sure nobody else does. The twisted logic. The broken reasoning. I want out, she said. I want my freedom. No. Siwoo, no. His voice turned hard. You're my wife. You stay. Then you're no better than your father. Pain flashed across his face, sharp and real. Maybe not, he said quietly. But at least with me, you're alive. He turned to the door. Clean up the files. And Amara, don't come into my office again. Next time, there will be consequences. The door closed. Amara collapsed among the scattered photos. 8 years of surveillance, of obsession. She gathered them with shaking hands. Photo after photo of her life, stolen and catalogued. Siwoo was more damaged than she'd imagined, and she was more trapped than ever. But as she stared at the photos, a realization struck. If he'd been watching her for 8 years, what else was he hiding? What other secrets did this office hold? Obsession that would never let her go. She remembered Junho. He'd given her the code, shown her the truth. He was helping her, wasn't he? Or was Mrs. Kang right? Did kindness in this family always have a price? She'd find out, soon enough, because in this mansion of monsters and secrets, trust was the deadliest gamble of all. Thank you for staying till the end. That means everything. If you want more stories like this, subscribe. New dark romance stories drops every week. Drop a comment if you want this story to continue.